I love that. Everyone can hear you. It's fantastic.
I'll give everybody just a few more seconds to join before I get started.
Greetings, Michael Belt. Good to see you. Hmm.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. Today, we're going to continue our AI education series with this session titled Mastering ChatGPT and Unlocking Advanced Strategies. So, if you missed last week's intro to OpenAI, we all dropped that link in the comments. I encourage you to go watch it. We go over the basics on how to get started, how to log in, and very basic information. If you're new to the platform, I encourage you to watch it. But today, I'd like to thank our loyal followers for joining us and a warm welcome to any of our new followers. So, most of you know, ServingIntel is a leading provider of point of sale and robotics technology to the senior living industry. We're also leading the industry forward in AI tools. And for anyone who's new, I am Angela Landry, Strategic Marketing Manager. With us, we have Jim Livingston. He is our Senior Vice President of Sales. And Lance Bell is our CIO, CEO, and founder. I'll just mention we love any questions, so feel free to add your questions in the comments and we'll get to as many as we can today. But we'll start with the agenda. So, why AI and why now? And then we'll move into jobs. Who and what will become obsolete? And then we'll talk about strategies for mastering AI. And then if you stay to the end, we have a special treat. We'll show you our very own AI platform, Ruby. She's for senior living, hospitality, and schools. So, Lance, tell me, why should someone care about mastering ChatGPT techniques, 4.0 specifically?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great time to be alive. Personal productivity. We're going to talk through some jobs that will be killed today, and it's cognizant of knowing these things because it's going to happen. There's no way around it. And then the other competitive piece here, as I was thinking about this, is if you're a manager or a leader, any organization, any role, any area of responsibility, you're going to be in competition with those individuals who are using these tools. And in fact, that's why this session is called Mastery. You need to master these tools. And it will not only help your personal productivity at work and outside of work today and help leapfrog you and make you stand out in the organization where you're currently at, but in competitive situations in the future, we're going to go through this. AI is a part of all of it, finding the job, putting in your creating the cover letter, updating your resume, submitting it, interview questions. I mean, the entire process of engaging with a new organization is transformed by this technology, in addition to being in the seat and leading. So, knowing which jobs are dying, knowing how to better perform in your current position, those are two great. This is the reason why we're doing the webinar tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Jim, what about organizations? How is it going to affect the overall organization?
Yeah, so I get to share much of the bad news, I guess I would say. So if we're looking for opportunities and the jobs that are going to be here, or not be here tomorrow, if you will, I'm kind of going to go through a little bit of them and talk about maybe some of the roles and specifically the why behind each of those roles. So let's first start. We all have customer service in some levels within our organization. As a tech company, we have this thing called tech support, and typically there's level one, level two, level three, but most of the time we always have more level one tech supports than anything else. And then everybody typically has a general customer support team. But why would those things be replaced? Well, today there's going to be these things called chatbots, which is exactly how the OpenAI ChatGPT stuff works. And in using those chatbots, for example, asking frequently asked questions and getting an answer immediately. Some of you probably have already seen this in real time in some of the customers that you currently deal with, whether it's in your banking institution, maybe medical. You're already seeing it being implemented. And ultimately, that's not a person, that's a chatbot. It's part of the OpenAI platform. and that's why those jobs will no longer be required. Handling simple inquiries, right? Just simple stuff, just the same redundant, over and over tasks, repetitive tasks. It's going to be replaced. Processing orders. What if it's just a simple order? Yeah, I would like my supplements again for next month. I don't need to talk to anybody. I can just make that happen through a chatbot. And then making recommendations. The system is smart enough to recognize previous behavior that you already had, and then make recommendations based on that behavior. So some of you, I don't know about you guys, but I've been on social media and I'm looking for a gym set, for example, or weights for my new gym I want to put in my garage. All of a sudden, I start getting all of these new advertisements that come up. Why is that? That's because the system's smart enough to know what we're looking for, and then make sure that those things get put in my face on a regular basis to try to get me to buy them. Has nothing to do with being from the human element. The second group, for example, is banking and finance, financial advisors and bank tellers. So I got to be careful here, because when we say provide financial advice, I actually tried it. It didn't work. And I said, hey, tell me what the top stock picks are for this week or today or last night. It does not do that. Maybe it will down the road, but that is not what it's for. But to know whether or not you're going to invest into 401k and or an IRA, and which one's better, you would go to a financial advisor potentially to ask that question, or maybe somebody in your company. You won't have to do that anymore. You can simply plug it in. Same with bank tellers. I currently go to the bank here, Wells Fargo. They've had one teller now for the last 2 years at any Wells Fargo I go to, and I have to wait in line every single time. At some point, it's going to be to the point where we just handle this through the chatbot, and we never even have to actually go in and talk to folks. So handling simple transactions, answering questions about accounts, providing the financial advice, just some of the things that the chatbot's going to replace within that industry. On the healthcare side, obviously receptionists, I think you guys already see it. It's pretty much going to the recording. It's a chatbot. It hears you. It understands exactly what you're saying. Unlike, 6 to 8, 10 years ago, you would say something and it would send you somewhere or do something. And you're like, that's not what I said. Well, it recognizes you exactly what you say today. So anything from scheduling appointments to answering questions about your medications to providing just basic medical advice. I have a headache. What should I do? Probably says, go take 2 Advil and lay down. So it's just things that you don't require having to talk to humans. Next slide. Education. So human tutors and teaching assistants. This is actually good for those who are in high school, college. I have a kid in college as well. First question I always ask is, do I have to pay for a tutor? Well, if this thing will allow me to actually give him the answers he needs without having a tutor, then is that going to save me money and actually eliminate that person? Unfortunately, yes. So providing personalized learning experiences based on how you learn, for example. I want to learn this and I want to learn it through the use of pictures, because I learn by sight as opposed to a different sense of learning. Answering certain questions or providing grade assignments. So it can happen all across the board in the education segment. Legal. This is one of the ones that they think is really going to get hit pretty hard. Researchers, paralegals, those folks, that makes sense. But when it said lawyers, I was a little shocked, to be honest. But I actually know exactly what it means, and I've actually been using it myself. So when it comes to legal research, if you're an attorney, for example, and you have to prepare for going to trial or whatever, and you need to look up things like, I need to find case law or regulations, or I need a whole bunch of data, and I need to be able to figure this out, and I need to do it quickly. It can actually happen in seconds or minutes, as opposed to paying a team of people to go out there and get it. Everything, when you talk about document drafting, and we're going to show you this as a real example here shortly, contracts and agreements, NDAs, non-competes. I used to, my former company, I used to go, hey, I need an NDA or a non-compete agreement. It's like, well, let's get the attorneys involved at $300 to $400 an hour. 6 hours later, 8 hours later, 2 weeks later, you get an NDA or an agreement. We're going to show you here. I can actually type in exactly what I'm looking for, and I'll get you an NDA in about 20 seconds or less, which is pretty cool. And guess what? It was free. So that's pretty cool. Document review. So you look at a document, you want to see if it's spelled right and everything it sounds right based on your company and your objectives and what your goals are. There's no need to have an attorney look at it. So again, eliminating the need to have that attorney, and it's going to save you obviously a lot of money. And then analyzing and predicting outcomes. Wow, that's pretty cool. If you can see a case and you can want to know maybe how I can predict what the outcome is going to be based on the information that's in the system or within our universe of data, that's a pretty cool ability and gives you a competitive advantage. On the e-commerce side, again, on the customer service reps and or the lower level sales associates, I would say, right? This is not a consultative sales type thing. This is what they call the little inside sales type folks, etc. Assist with shopping experience, right? You need help. You need somebody to tell you to do this or go there and so on. Recommending products. I kind of shared a little bit about, again, I'm looking for a gym set and all of a sudden I start getting ads that I've never seen before. Asking questions. Hey, where's my order? Has it shipped? If it's shipped, where is it? When should I expect it? Without having to go, let me click on the tracking number and then send it, etc. So there's many cool ways within the e-commerce sector that ChatGPT and the OpenAI platform will work. Manufacturing. So all the things I just discussed with you are what I would say people potentially, it's going to become people-less, right? And the chatbot will take over. But they always say with whatever comes with good or with bad, there's always some good. Well, the good part of the OpenAI ChatGPT stuff, if you will, is that it's going to help us be better at our jobs because it's not going to replace everyone. So what I want to share here, the last two slides here, is about some examples of what I'm talking about. So imagine you're in, and I say manufacturing, it could be anybody, it could be just a standard business, but manufacturing in general, and you're in supply chain or you're in a management function, for example. When it comes to, hey, we need to predict what the outlook's going to be over sales for the next XYZ, or outlook over said widget that we have over the next year or 6 months or 3 months, whatever you're looking at, based on you already know it takes 3 months on the water from China and so on and so forth. And you type this stuff into the system really quickly, and all of a sudden it uses your data and spits out this information, as opposed to having a manager having to know every little thing about every little thing. Again, they don't have to always have it in here. They can be there and they can use this tool to help them be better and more efficient. And that's the goal. So reducing waste, optimizing business processes, the inventory management, the scheduling, the QA, the quality control. And then the best part about this, they keep saying over and over again, is how you can analyze large amounts of data so that you can make more informed decisions, so you can have a competitive advantage over the others. But the key here is doing it quickly. So that's the whole goal here. We're going to show you how, just give you a couple examples of how fast you can get to where you want to go, and what is potentially coming down the road even more. Sales and marketing, same concept. So improving the job function. How do I do that? What's it going to do? Well, again, if you can predict the customer behavior with the data and the analytics that you have, that's pretty powerful. How do you identify your high value prospects? Hey, who's the top restaurant chains in the company that I want to go after? Well, you can go on Google and wherever and try to find them and piece things together. Or you can simply go on ChatGPT and ask the question, and boom, it spits it out for you with all the data you could want, and you can get as detailed as you want with getting that or receiving that information. And then personalizing contents and offers. It's kind of cool if you're able to personalize whatever you're trying to do. We're going to show you that as well here on some of the examples moving forward. And that's typically all I got for some of the unfortunate job losses, but also some of the opportunities that will take place moving forward.
Thanks, Jim. So let's get to the fun stuff. So our real value add for you today is to show you real examples of how to get the most out of ChatGPT. So Lance and Jim, let's go through some examples on how we can thrive as managers or leaders in any organization.
Yep. So we created a couple examples. The first example, and I'm going to have Lance get ready to drive. He's going to pull up the actual ChatGPT platform, and I don't see it yet. Lance, there we go. And so we've already created some stuff ahead of time. So he'll do some copying and paste, and I'll kind of provide a little color. But I'm going to go ahead and provide the color on the first example. So you are trying to deal with an unhappy customer that has emailed you. They are unhappy. And in this case, we're using a restaurant. So we have some restaurant folks that are on the call. I've had a horrible experience at Olive Garden. My server was extremely rude. He really didn't want to take care of us. My food came out wrong. My breadsticks were cold. My pasta didn't have enough sauce, whatever it is. And they sign their name. I don't know about you, but it's not a fun thing to get when you're a restaurant manager or they actually hire people within the organization to handle customer complaints and emails. And you got to be good at it and you got to try to turn it around. We're going to show you how we're going to take this exact thing. Go ahead. Again, I don't see the screen, Lance. And he's going to cut and paste that in there. But he's also going to write, and I think it's how do I respond to this email in a nice manner? And then he's
Exactly.
going to copy and paste this in there and watch what happens.
You got it. So I just signed in to the system, and we're using OpenAI now. There's some other tools that are available out there. But we're going to stay focused on this one for right now. And when you have, we talked last webinar about the different versions, free and plus, so the two different flavors. And so if you become a power user of this solution, I recommend you. It's worth $20 a month to go ahead and do the plus version. The plus gives you three different models. I don't know why anybody'd use legacy, but if you need super fast answers, 3.5 is fantastic. You can see here the speed is 5 out of 5. And then you come down here to the new model, which is 4.0, you get much deeper level of logic and reasoning. You get some really thoughtful outputs, depends on what your desire is, but it takes longer. And you'll see that here as we go through this. So I'm going to start off just using 3.5 for speed. And then, as Jim had mentioned, we're doing a customer service example. And so this is super, super, super important to understand as I'm feeding the system. You want to bring information in. Up here at the top left, this is a new chat. These are my previous subjects here. So we're starting a brand new one, which means ChatGPT doesn't have a clue what I'm about to ask it. Totally random. And so what I'm going to do here is hold down shift and I'm going to hit enter. This keeps you from pushing the information over. Like enter means you're done typing. I just added a space. And here, going with what Jim just said, act like a customer service manager and write a nice email, put any flavor in here you want, to the person below. And I typically will conclude it with a semicolon. I'm just like to have it clean, so I'll do another shift enter, and then there's the email I just pasted in. I click enter, put it in, and you can see how fast the output is. Now, in fact, it's so fast I usually have to click my mouse wheel up once to go back up to the top. So super high performance. Dear Tina, I'm sorry to hear about the negative experience you had during your recent visit to Olive Garden. As the customer service manager, I take full responsibility for the behavior of our server. And so you can continue. What's really neat about this, you can continue to massage this as you read through this. It's fantastic. But what if you learned outside of the email, there was a specific complaint? Like, for example, somebody from the organization should have called Tina here and asked Tina what happened. And maybe Tina said, there was an object in my food and the manager never came after I asked for the manager. It could be anything like that. The next prompt could be rewrite, adding that Tina found an object in her pasta, since we're picking on Olive Garden, that she was upset about. Enter. And you get the entire replication of the whole thing. And now it's gonna give you some variation. But here's the specific important thing: where I am even more sorry to hear that you found an object in your pasta, and I can understand why this would be an upsetting experience. So as you look at the work, you have the ability to add more polish to get to that final out piece. And then you just come up here and grab Dear Tina, drag down to the bottom, and copy paste right into your email, right back out to Tina. So think of all the time it takes to respond to these emails requiring thought. You're giving a different situation, it's outside of the normal business day flow, and you've got to switch your brain paradigm. I need to address this issue. How am I going to do it? This is it. I've personally used this to respond to a non 5-star review on Google Business or Google Maps. Somebody sent in something that just kind of makes you a little emotional. Copy, how do you respond? Paste, drop it back in, and you're done. So the mind space that it frees, in addition to saving you minutes, hours in your day, is pretty fantastic.
And it does it in a very, very professional way, which is kind of cool.
Absolutely.
It makes you look more professional than you really are. So let's get to our second example, which I love because this one's actually specifically happens to me every single day. So every single day, as a vice president of sales, you get constant requests from somebody telling you that they can help you get better leads, increase more sales, et cetera, et cetera. We all have that same problem. Most of the time, I hit delete because I just don't have the time, energy to respond to that because I would never get anything done. So just imagine in this case, somebody's trying to sell me this situation, how it's going to help me generate leads and get my sales team back on track. Can we schedule a quick chat? Right. So I can ignore it or I can respond back in a very nice manner. And so how would I do that? Same concept. So send that reply back to him declining his offer. So I'll just tell you what I wrote, Lance, because I heard your shift thing. I didn't actually have to do that when I did mine. So go ahead and paste yours in. Paste the
Yeah,
email or that one
yeah,
thing.
one thing I just want to point out is you can see that I'm still on the Olive Garden pour experience. And so as we transitions, I'm going to create intentionally, I'm going to create new chats so that I keep these each one of these separate. That's kind of important. Otherwise, you're building a story that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay, so there's the question. Now go back to the beginning of it, and I
Okay.
wrote send reply email back declining his offer and be nice to this email is what I wrote.
No, just put be nice.
Yeah, and then hit enter, and that's it, and then and watch what it does.
Thank you for reaching out. Offers and services, sales goals. I appreciate the interest and expertise. We've already implemented that strategy. I don't know. Did you already do that, or did you ChatGPT just lie? I,
Yeah.
I,
So the point though is that it allows you to be able to create emails and respond to people in a very quick way. Now, pretty soon, with exist other systems that are out there that tie into this, this will be the click of a button. There will be no cutting and pasting. You'll be able to do it right in through the tools that you're actually utilizing. And then even scarier yet, it starts to recognize you, your situation, what's happening, and then it starts doing it automatically. And then it becomes really interesting.
Yeah, there's what we're a Microsoft shop for those on this webinar who don't know that. We create our own software in house that's built on Microsoft technologies, and Microsoft is releasing a new product called Copilot. This is one you're going to want to keep an eye out for if your organization uses the 365 suite, Outlook and Word and what have you. And what they're doing with Copilot is they're driving AI tools right into the different office tools. And so, using another solution called Power Automate, you'll be able to literally train your Outlook on things like when an incoming sales message is, not just the old rule of put it in this folder, but literally analyze it, see if there's any interest, reply back declining, or if these companies reach out to me, go ahead and schedule an appointment with them. And so your inbox is going to get incredibly intelligent and be able to manage these incoming communications and outgoing communications in order to better get things done during the day.
No, let's go on to the next one. We talked about legal before. I need a written and an NDA, real simple. So again, he's going to cut and paste it, put it in. And I don't know if you have the ability to see what I put in notes there, so you don't have to write it all out. But I wrote on, write me a formal business NDA between ServingIntel, which is our company, of course, based in Chicago, Illinois, and Jones Distributing, based in Medina, Ohio, regarding POS and robotics, as an example.
You got it. Oops, hang on one second. I'm copying it right now. I am pasting it in as a new chat. Hitting enter. Non-disclosure agreement.
And I mean, you'll see this. If anybody's ever seen an NDA before, it literally is right in front of you. And then watch it. Even at the end, it even makes you so you can actually sign it. It's almost amusing. Go ahead,
Yeah,
keep going.
what's interesting too is that you grabbed. We have an office downtown Chicago. You by saying based in Chicago versus saying being based in Oak Brook Terrace, it actually grabbed our office location downtown instead of our Oak Brook Terrace location. Notice also too, you just put city and state, and it went ahead and grabbed off of the web Actually, we got 123 Main Street. I doubt that's it. Could be. Anything's possible, but it's fetching information that's tied to the request and it's bringing it in. Now,
Yep.
something I'm going to guess. Yeah, this is another trick you need to know. Mastering this is it's only going to give you so many tokens back. Lance, what's a token? So a token is a space, a word, and another space represents a token. And typically there's 1,024 tokens that go back and forth in normal exchange. So this right here represents, if it's set at default, represents 1,000 words and it stops. It doesn't mean it's done. It just means you've got to come down here and type in continue, and then it picks up right where it left off. This agreement may not be amended in writing and signed by both parties, except in writing and signed by both parties. There's point number 8, there's point number 9. And then it just keeps on going, disclosing party, ending. It's got actually, you can see it right there. It's real faint. It's got the lines where you actually sign on and you're done. And so, again, talking about the polish aspect, as you're looking about this, I don't know if it put in here venue, entire agreement, governing law. Yeah, it did. State laws of Illinois. If there's anything in here that you miss, you just simply put rewrite adding this, and it rewrites the entire agreement and puts that piece back in there. And so, yeah, when I think about this solution, how many thousands of kids are in college right now, in law school with a couple $100,000 of debt? ChatGPT does what's supposed to be their job and does it incredibly efficiently.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next example. The next example. So we're all employees of somebody. In most cases, maybe we're business owners, and at some point you have to go look for a job or you have to interview. Well, what if you took a job description and you wanted to know, because you're getting ready to prepare for an interview? There are people out there that prepare you for interviews. You prepare yourself for an interview. But sometimes you're going into a job that you never know. Sometimes the interview's easy, sometimes it's harder. Where are they getting their information from? Well, whether you're an employer that you want to get the questions or you're an employee, you want to get the questions. So in this case, go ahead and copy. That's a job description. I pulled it right off of LinkedIn. It was for a territory sales manager for a very large company. And I wrote, provide interview questions for this job description. That's how I started it. So provide interview questions for this job description. And so now I'm basically asking it, based on the job description, what are you expecting to be those actual job description? I'm sorry, those actual interview questions. And there you go. And you prepare accordingly. Now, I don't know about you, but I've done many, many interviews in my life. And you always wonder, is this interview good? Could I do better? Well, if you were looking for ways to improve, just take your current job description, which, by the way, this will create also for you once you just give it some parameters of what you do, etc. Boom, creates the job description. And then all of a sudden now, what are the questions to the actual interview process? I don't think there's anybody on any of our calls that doesn't do some form of this. And now it's all available right here at the touch of a finger.
And same type of process. It gave me 15 by default, which is pretty fantastic. That's more than I would ask in a normal interview. If you want more, no problem. Just continue, enter, and here's 16 through however many more it gives me. Also, too, I was thinking about in the interview process, there's a specific process called STAR. I think that's situation, task, something, result, action, result. There you go, action, result. And so, same thing, rewrite using, I haven't done this before. I like doing things on the fly, see what I get, using STAR methodology. Sure, here are some examples using STAR situation, task, action, and response. Even tells you what it is, just in case you weren't sure yourself. So describe a situation where you were successful in acquiring a new customer. And then it gives you an example. Describe what was your role, what specific actions, and what was the outcome. So for HR, I guess this would be HR recruiting. This tool makes your job incredibly faster, especially if you're looking for fresh content, different questions to ask. You can get more specific. If your particular candidate has weaknesses, that maybe came through in the resume, you could focus these questions on that weakness by putting the weakness into the request. So super powerful tool on that piece of it. And Jim, I don't remember our examples. We also talk about the flip side of this, the creating of a job description.
Yeah, I didn't create that specifically, but yeah, you could create a job description too. Obviously,
That's
if you had, you put all the I need to know Microsoft Word, I need to be computer literate. I mean, all the different things you want to write in there, and then all of a sudden it creates a job description for your company based on what you sell and so on. You can do that. I didn't do that.
going to put better than above.
There you go.
So this is one of the things that annoys me is that we need to add somebody to the organization. Maybe they're on the programming side. It's a new technology or something, and we don't have a job description that fits that bill yet. This is a real life example. I did this a couple of weeks ago with a new technology to be able to come in here and just say, create a job description for this role. And it just starts giving you a job description, key responsibilities. I mean, look at it. How many points are there? About 12, 13 points that go along with sales and territory management, and then throws out qualifications, any of which you could change on the fly. And then here's where it throws in some generic stuff regarding benefits. I mean, this is a complete job description with all three major parts. And I just simply said, create one better than above. And that's it. And so these tasks that you have to do in your current job role that annoy you, maybe they elicit a small emotional response, you can hand them right over and get high quality output super, super fast.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one is, let's say we want tutorials. We want to do a tutorial. We want content creation. So we created this one example. So I'll go ahead and read it there real quick. You're a talented marketing specialist with a wealth of experience in the automotive industry. You have a proven track record of creating impactful campaigns that resonate with car enthusiasts and drive sales for automotive brands. What types of open-ended questions should I ask to create compelling content? Prioritize uncommon expert advice. I could have said novice advice. I could have said whatever. You can raise the levels. So he'll go ahead and plug that in, and let's see what we come up with.
Absolutely. And this, we're going to have a bonus section here because I personally use this. Back in the day, before OpenAI, I would write 2 to 3 blog articles per year because I hated it. There's value in it from a lot of different standpoints, but I just hated writing and organizing my thoughts in a cohesive manner. And I'm not a perfectionist. I don't think I have OCD. But when you create something, you want to look professional to the marketplace. And so not just the creation piece, but the review, and going to my wife, hey, would you review this? And, but, it would take like a day by the time I was done to write a 500-word blog article. Well, today I do them now. And if you look at the ServingIntel site, for all of the articles listed where my name is at the bottom about the author, I'm doing this in about maybe 12 minutes now. And I'm doing 3 a week instead of 3 a year. And so if you want to set yourself apart in your organization or your industry as a high quality content generator, this is the way to do it. And it's phenomenal. So again, a new chat up here. I'm going to put in what Jim just gave me for the content. You're a talented marketing specialist with wealth of information. We're doing automated ventures. I'm just going to hit enter based on what he did. So as a specialist, there are several open-ended questions that you can create regarding compelling content that will resonate with enthusiasts and drive back sales. So this helps you with the mental process on the front side. Like if you need to create a blog article and you don't know what the topic might be, ask ChatGPT. What should I be writing about? What's important? And so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different topics that we can drill on. And remember, the key to compelling content is to ask open-ended questions. So part of this actually could play into the title of your article once you were done with that piece of it. So, Jim, you want to guide me on next step you had in mind here?
No, I was actually going to move to another version of this of content creation, but I was going to do it from a social media LinkedIn perspective.
Let's do that because I'm flexible.
So yeah. So for example, I'm not sure if we do some robotics. We have a lot of people that said they were going to come on the call. So we have some folks out of the robotics world out there. shout out to you. But this is an example. For example, you want to be a social marketing manager. You want to create content explaining the top 5 reasons, for example, why maybe food running robots can have a positive impact on a restaurant in senior living. Why this? Why that? And you want to look like you've done some homework. You think you know. You probably do have some overall tribal knowledge that you have, but now you want to be able to tell the rest of the world. And you want to do that through the social media, through i.e. LinkedIn. Most of us are on. So go ahead and plug that in and let's see what we come up with.
You got it. And at the beginning of this call, Angela, we didn't state questions. If anybody has questions, we're going to do a QA section at the end of this. If you have questions, just go ahead and type them into LinkedIn, into the chat box for this, and we'll bring them up as we go. All right, new chat. Dropping in, act like a social media marketing manager, hitting enter. Food running robots.
So for those that have been in the food running robot space, being able to have faster service, improving efficiency, they would all agree that that would be one. Increasing accuracy in order fulfillment. Yeah, if the robot was involved in that, but it's actually on the server side, being able to spend time with the customer, for example, that's another advantage. Improving the safety and the hygiene, reducing labor costs. You can see this is exactly the reasons why food running robots, as an example, are being sold all throughout the country. It's how to become more efficient, more productive, reduce costs, and so on and so forth. And it's all right then and there. And you can drill down on this even further with specific companies. You can ask about how does this company compare to this company? How does this robot compare to that robot? And then I'm going to wrap it up with one more example, because I'm going to call this the competitive analysis. I'm going to bounce off of robots into cars for those of us who might like cars, or in this case, trucks. So go to the next one. I don't know about you, but I bought my son a Dodge Ram after doing some homework, and the decision to buy it was based on what it looked like on the inside, and I liked it. As opposed to what I learned later was maybe it might not be the most reliable potentially over the trucks. So I said, analyze the Ford F-150, the Dodge Ram, and the Toyota Tundra, and tell me which one's more reliable. So you write in what you want. Which one's more reliable? Which one's most comfortable? Which one maybe has all the most features that you're looking for? Which one gets the best gas mileage? You could even ask it which one has the best colors, for example, or interiors or leathers or whatever. But this is what I've asked. So go ahead and plug it in and let's see what it says.
You got it.
Because I know we got some truck folks out there, I'm sure.
New chat. Paste. Enter.
So as you may have expected or not, I'm not sure. We have probably some Ford folks out there that think the Ford is the most reliable. According to this, it's not. When I asked, certain people, I would also get the same answer. The Toyota truck seems to be the more reliable truck. And at the end, Dodge Ram seems to be the more comfortable, has the most features. But the F-150 the Ford seems like it has more technology, which I'm not sure exactly what that means because I didn't drill down. But as you can see here, it gives you those specific differences. And so just do this with whoever. Do it with your current competitors. Do it with things you want personally. But if you think about it from a business perspective, I don't know about you, but every time I'm looking at a new competitor, I'm trying to figure out, well, what do they do? And what do they offer? What benefits, what features do they have that we have or don't have? How do we compare? And plus start plugging it into the system and see what the system tells you, right? The system means the world, the data that's out there in the world. And if your message that you're trying to create is not coming across on this, that means your message is not out there, right? That's the way I looked at it. I'm not sure how true that statement is, but if you're saying you're the best, the biggest, the smallest, the largest, whatever it is that what you're actually promoting within the social media world and or the content that you're creating? And if it's not, you might want to, so that you show up whenever people start to do searches like this, because this will become the norm as we move forward. And that's all I got from my examples. And Lance, I think you're going to go ahead and share how we've taken this product and brought it into our real life at our company.
Yeah, there's two things I want to do from a bonus standpoint, and then we'll get into some questions and answers. First thing, there's a unique thing about ChatGPT when it comes to content, and it's the fact that you have style. And so it does a wonderful job of spelling. I've never seen a misspelt word. I've seen some hyphen recommendations. Hyphens weren't put in where another solution recommended hyphens. I haven't seen any issues with grammar per se. When it comes to the style, you can influence the audience as we did earlier. You can set this to professional, sophisticated. Another great example is this is a fun one. Explain quantum physics to me like a third grader. Hey there. Do you know how tiny things like atoms and electrons make up everything around us? So if you've got kids and you're homeschooling, or maybe you want to start augmenting the public school system, you can literally set the output to the grade of school that the audience is in. So very, very fine tuned. But back to the trick example, when I'm putting this out, general consumption to adults, the style points are here. And there's another piece of this too. You notice the layout of this. We have a black background in white text. And so I'm going to copy this here. And just like earlier, we said you could drop it into a program like Outlook or Gmail. I'm going to pull up Microsoft Word and I'm going to drop the content information in, and you're going to see that, oops, let me see if I got Control V, analyze, act like, nope, let me go back. That's another powerful thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. Right click, copy, make sure I got it there. Control Z, Control V, boom, here you go. So here's the entire output. We got 357 words down there at the bottom. And just notice the HTML code behind it came across with the text, and it's all crazy. So first thing you want to do if you're going to take this bonus tip to massage your information is click anywhere in the screen, hit Control A, that'll highlight everything, go up to Styles, and select Clear Formatting. And this will get rid of all that HTML garbage and give you nice, clean text right here on the screen. Now, what I like to do as well, Control A again, is go back and just set it to default, set it to normal. So now I've got basic formatting. If I'm going to do subtitles, if I'm going to do anything to really take this to the next level, it's all ready now from a Microsoft Word perspective. And then the other tool, highly recommend, and we don't sell any of these tools, by the way. We don't get a referral fee for recommending these. These are the tools we use on a daily basis, is Grammarly. And so you can use Grammarly from either the free perspective is fine. I do the professional because I want every single tool. You can see up here at the top, the ability to check for correctiveness, for clarity, for engagement and delivery. These are the add-ons that come along with the tool. So I have the entire suite. And when I put out a 500 word blog article, I typically find 12 to 16 issues, or I should say, Grammarly finds that has to do with the article. And so what ChatGPT puts out a lot of, let's see if I can find an example of it, because I've done this enough that a lot of these are really straightforward. Change word, phrase, choose synonyms. I get unclear antecedents. And I'm not seeing yet. Here's a split reference. Most of this looks pretty clear. And sometimes I'll pick up a fragment. But this is literally what I do. I trust this so much that I just rip right down it. I make all the changes because especially if you have a little salesy in your pitch, it'll pick up extra words like are available with instead of just simply have. And I just rip right down this thing, making all of the suggested changes that it says to do. And I love this. It'll tell you to flip a sentence around, choose synonyms, change wordings. I didn't see a single, so far I haven't seen a single unclear antecedent in the entire piece so far. Choose a synonym. And if you like highway instead of road, you just check the trash can to dismiss. No problem. And we'll have our last replace, checking, done. So I've just replaced 12 style points that fast. And then finally, what I do is once I've gone through and I'm sure everything's right the way I want it here, is I'll click on the first word, go back to the home ribbon, actually right click here, and then you'll have it'll actually read out loud to me because I'm lazy and I don't want to read. I'll just sit back and close my eyes, and Microsoft will read the entire article, and I'll imagine myself being in your spot, the reader, the audience, listening to this or reading this, and make sure that it sounds the way that I want it to sound. And then from here back to LinkedIn articles, I'll literally just copy and paste and put this in an article and then blast it out to all the people I'm networked with, a few groups that I'm connected to, and share the love. And so, start to finish, again, 4 to 8 hours in the old school way. Now I'm down to about 12 minutes, 3 times a week, putting out what I consider to be high quality content for people that I'm trying to serve. One of our partners, somebody who operates the dining services for a large multi unit corporation, I asked him, what keeps you up at night? And he gave me a couple of things that keep him up at night. Well, I created blog articles right off of those. So, serving your customers, asking them what topics are important to them, that's how this comes full circle in being able to serve those individuals. So, any questions on that process or comments, Jim and Angela?
No, I use Grammarly every day in my email, and when I use ChatGPT, I run it through everything just to make sure it's like that one final check to make sure before you post anything or hit send on your email.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the other piece that we talked about was our solutions. Why are we in this? Well, this we're in this because we love the technology that's available today, the way that we can use it internally, and then for our partners to provide it externally. So again, we're not selling anything through any of these webinars. We're just sharing the love so that you get more out of your work and your life. Now we've created our own internal platform. And as Jim mentioned earlier in this webinar, chatbots have been around for over 10 years. You call Comcast, call the utility company, you're dealing with a chatbot on the front side. But the chatbot, you needed an organization that had millions of dollars to spend to train a model, the Q&A specific to somebody calling, let's pick on Comcast, to call about your cable being out or your cable bill. You'd spend millions of dollars and you'd get something that decent. I'd say they're decent these days. Years past, you get upset yelling, "Agent, give me a live person on the phone," especially with banks. But what we have now today through OpenAI is we have LMM, large machine models, or also LLM, large language models. So we have massive amounts of data. I heard that ChatGPT, the model was built and trained, so it was set up using 1,200 different computers, 1,200 GPUs to be specific. So if you can imagine an organization that has 1,200 computers that are all online and connected, all ready to go to do just one thing. That's kind of what we're talking here. And so our platform that we created it's really cool because there's a pipeline of information coming in, and we're able to look at the question being asked, what's referred to as a prompt, and we're able to decide, is that a prompt that would serve, for example, Ruby is the platform we have for senior living in hospitals. Is this a question that would go over to the Ruby side, to us, the stuff we've trained? Or does somebody sitting in a hospital or in a senior living community want to know who Elon Musk is, for example? So we route, as Microsoft is our partner, we route the non-business specific requests over to Microsoft's OpenAI service. So what we're showing you here with OpenAI through the organization, chat or the product is ChatGPT, the organization is OpenAI. Microsoft, as an investor in OpenAI, has the full service that's available. Yeah, that was to say that's not my team's. And so we've created 3 different platforms because we serve 3 different industries in total. And so Ruby is for senior living in hospitals. Sapphire AI is for hospital or hospitality. Think all terms of restaurants. And then Emerald AI, we serve public schools and private schools as well. And so 3 different platforms, each tied to Microsoft's OpenAI in order to do that. And there's 2 different ways that we have this put together. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you. This is our what we refer to as a progressive web application. This is what people see when they go to us on their cell phone. And I have the ability. Let me go to tools here real quick. I can really mimic a cell phone. Click on the model up here, toggle device emulation, and so I'm now in cell phone mode. So this is exactly what your cell phone will look like here. And down here, you can see we got a little blowing. Now, ABC Senior Living, this is our demonstration platform. When people are engaging us to see if we're the provider that they want to engage with, we give them credentials for this demo platform. And then we go here to high. So she's live right now. And I don't know if you can hear her, but you're going to see that she's going to start putting in information into the screen based on what I'm talking about. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to turn her off for a second. That is correct. And can you all hear that, Jim and Andrea?
No, no.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. She's talking to me right now. I didn't know if that would pass through this webinar software. But you can see right here, everything I'm saying is being automatically filled in. I'm not typing. This is hands free. So we're using another AI solution that's called speech to text and text to speech, STT and STTS. And so this is a live service using AI through Microsoft. And we've got a wonderful young lady's voice that's doing this. It's in near real time. And so when a customer is interfacing with our solution, they're having a conversational dialogue that's almost as good as somebody is sitting there in the chair beside you. And again, this is being done through a cell phone or a tablet or what have you. And then down here in the bottom, I'm going to actually type this in. This is an example of what I was talking about, the routing of the traffic. So if I put in who is Elon Musk, I ask Ruby that, I hit question mark. What you're going to see is you're going to see a short delay because this traffic actually gets routed. You all can't hear that, can you?
No.
Uh,
No.
right now, she's telling me who Elon is. Uh, Pause for just a second. It's too bad you can't hear this because she's giving an awesome summation of Elon Musk's life right now. So this is how you get the information. Typically, it shows up here. I'm not sure why today it's not showing up text-wise. But then this would be the flip side. Imagine again, you're a resident or you're in a hospital and you're like, you want to know what's available for lunch. You ask the question. Uh, we're serving today for lunch a Cobb salad with a blue cheese dressing, a fruit salad, and a bowl of French onion soup with a classic Caesar salad. So I apologize. I wish you could all hear this. In fact, we'll drop the link in, and if you want to play with this on our demonstration platform, you absolutely could. We'd love to have you do that. And then the other piece of this is the embedded piece. Now, this would be for our operators. So the folks who are our partners today, also known as customers, we have in our platform, our cloud platform. This is where it controls all the transaction management. We've got a dashboard, and Ruby is being embedded right now today on the dashboard. So here's our dashboard. We've got KPIs. What are sales today? What's labor if I'm doing time and attendance, voids, comps, discounts? How many meals did I serve today? Breakfast and lunch. Up here, this is going to be changed. It's going to be available on Monday, and we're going to have two up here. We're going to have KPIs and we're going to have AI. And what you see right here, that you can see, we've got the conversations over here, clearing the conversations, adding a new one. Here's all the tools that we showed you before with OpenAI's ChatGPT. Well, this will all be embedded into our solution. And so if I were to ask something along the lines with, let's see if I get a different response. What is for lunch? Question mark. Enter. Hey, yeah, it's almost like what I was saying a minute ago. For lunch today, we have Cobb salad, blue cheese dressing. I didn't say grilled panini though; it's too fast. Homemade chips, French onion soup, classic Caesar salad. So all this, and in fact, let's see if I can also here show you who is Elon Musk? Question mark. Enter. Here's the short delay as we go ask Microsoft, hey, tell us who Elon Musk is. and their version of OpenAI comes back, and here's all the wonderful information I was telling you about Elon Musk, his companies, and his life. So our solution, again, taking advantage of, we could have created a chatbot in at any point over the last 12 years and spent millions of dollars to tailor it for somebody's bar and grill. And think about it, in the restaurant environment, who uses a chatbot? People like to, like Comcast like to use chatbot. But using the large language models along with the business specific customized information, we brought those two together in our AI platform, and we're able to create some amazing, highly intelligent solutions that are available for our partners. Where this is going next after embedding the training is per partner. So we're training them on their particular business. The next thing on this is database training. And so with our solution, we have a database of all your transactions. Well, let's stay for a minute with senior living. All your residents, everything they've eaten for the history, what apartment they're in, the ability for outside departments to train their local model, like events. The event coordinator can go on and say, tomorrow at 8 a.m., we've got yoga in the backyard dining room, and just literally using words verbally spell out the schedule of events. And then all the residents then have access to that schedule through their chat assistant. This is some of the stuff we're talking about, but specifically training against a database to be for an operator, a dining room manager, a business office manager to be able to say, how many meals did we serve this morning? How many meals did we serve last week? What's the current balance for Martha Smith? And have this information on your cell phone, laptop, fingertips, tablet, wherever. That's where we're headed next. And we're headed there in super fast fashion. So, AI for getting business intelligence, improving service to your customers across all spectrums. That's what we're doing today at Serving Intel.
Awesome. Well, we're right on time, so I think we'll end here. Thank you, Lance and Jim, as always, for your help. We'll drop this video in the comments as well, so you can go back and watch if you need to, and look forward to any new series that we come out with. Thank you all.
Thank you. Yeah, reach out to us, DM us if you have any questions. We're excited about the opportunity to serve you. And as a little precursor, in 2 weeks from today, you'll see the invitation here shortly. 2 weeks to today, we're going to talk about using AI at the enterprise level. If you're a leader in an organization, if you're in the C-suite or at the director level, how can you use this across your team or your organization to get better efficiencies, better service? That's what we're going to talk about in the next webinar. Thank you for your time and have a great day.